From the Windows, Doors, and More Studios, your one-stop shop for all your kitchen and bath needs. The Pat Miller Program. Whoa, 92.3 FM and 1190 AM. Depend on it.
Hi, everybody. Welcome into the Pat Miller Program. So very, very glad that you're with us here today on this Saturday, and trust that you're having a great start to your weekend. The weekends will get warmer and brighter as we continue to march through spring and edge our way into summer. You know, we're only a week and a day away from the Indianapolis 500, which is just hard to believe. But here we go, and we're flying right into it. And I'm kind of glad. I'm kind of a 500 nut job anyway. So, and I know what you're thinking. We knew you were some kind of a nut job. We just weren't sure what kind. So there, I took it out of the question for you. How can we expect those that we're trying to educate in our schools to become better products than those that we display in front of them, whether from Hollywood or the stage or the speaking circuits or even from the highest echelons of our government? Robert De Niro, there was an article I saw the other day by Douglas Andrews that I think was called something like "Enough of Robert F. De Niro," and you say, what? Yeah. Because this whole thing of, you know, if Robert De Niro goes on The View and he can just drop F-bombs ad infinitum as much as he wants, and they just keep applauding him and screaming, almost encouraging him to go on and to do even more, no, that's not the way you do it. Laura Ingraham, in a book I have of hers from 2003, Shut Up and Sing, she said in that book, but then actors and musicians started to ruin it for me. They started speaking, shouting, ranting, not about acting, not about music, but about politics. It is also their tone, unfailingly arrogant, invariably patronizing. They believe they have cornered the market on wisdom and experience, not just in the entertainment world, but in the entire world. Well, let's see how wise they are. Take all their scripts away from them. Don't let anybody write any more lines for them. Don't let anybody write any more music for them. Let them do it all on their own, and let's see how well they do it. I mean, things haven't changed much in 2 decades, have they? Because today, just like yesterday, entertainment elites think they know better than you and me. And more than anything else, they want to tell us how to vote, which is sad because it often tarnishes our view of what they do so well, which is usually one of the two things, singing or acting. And they've gotten to where they've become so wrapped up in trying to be the picture of all that we're supposed to believe that they've lost sight of what it is that they really are, actors. They can't seem to do it anymore. Well, if you take De Niro, I mean, what a mirage of and a collage of great accomplishments on this screen. Taxi Driver and Raging Bull and Heat and Goodfellas and The Irishman. They're spectacular. And even the funny stuff. Midnight Run, Meet the Parents, which I thought was hilarious. If you've not seen that, you really should. And yet we find out that this guy is nothing but a vile, nasty, filthy, foul-mouthed, 80-year-old Trump deranged lunatic. De Niro's white-hot hatred of the former and perhaps future president, that just drives them crazy. I need to do that every time I mention Trump anymore. He is the former and perhaps future president. But his hatred of Trump is not new. He has been expressing and profanely expressing his desire to punch Trump in the face for years now. Now, he might need a step stool to do it, but of course, he wants to do it. So you have to wonder, back in the day, Trump sauntered into Tribeca and sauntered out with De Niro's girl or something. I mean, is that what happened? Is that what has sent De Niro off here? Here's what De Niro said on The View on Tuesday. I don't understand why people are not taking him seriously. Because you read about it historically in other countries that they didn't take the people seriously. I mean, think of, now wait for it because you know this is coming. So it's coming, okay? Other people in history, just like Trump. So wait for it. He goes, they didn't take some other people seriously. Think of Hitler and Mussolini. They were fools and clowns. And I hear some people think that this guy is going to do exactly what he says he's going to do. He's done it already. Okay, he did. And what did he do? What did he do? He lowered taxes and tariffs. He made it easier for companies to either keep their businesses here or to bring them back from overseas. He started to put us on the platform of being the world's leader of oil. And when you hear all these goofy numbers coming out about how well the electric cars are running and how well they're not running and yada, 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 don't fool yourself. Don't fool yourself. They're going to be a disaster. We're going to need petroleum for running our vehicles, but other things as well. What about our jets up in the sky? Are you ready to climb on to a 747 that has solar panels on the wings and thinking that's going to be enough to generate all that you need to bring that big behemoth across the ocean from London to land it in New York or to bring it from Chicago to Fort Wayne? Are you ready to do that? I'm not. We're going to have planes dropping out of the sky like old grasshoppers. Trump has done it already. He was president for 4 years, during which time his America First foreign and domestic policies brought us some pretty enviable prosperity and kept us out of ruinous wars. The Hitler stuff is so pathetic, it is so tiresome, it is so old. But it's ultimately revealing what is such a laughable leap. Just for grins, then National Review's Kyle Smith took the bait in 2017 when unfortunately named New York Times columnist Charles Blow intoned, "Trump is no Hitler, but the way he has manipulated the American people with outrageous lies, stacked one on top of the other, has an eerie historical resonance." Well, Hitler, of course, murdered 6 million Jews and countless other millions during the catastrophic war that he started. While Trump, I'm looking for a correlation. Trump's nearest crime was to make a Trumpian observation about the loyalty of his base. Probably shouldn't have said it, but he said, if I stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody, I probably wouldn't lose any voters. He was using a very bad illustration to talk about the loyalty of his voters to him. It, although probably true, didn't need to be said. Hitler invaded the sovereign states of, everybody sitting down? Austria, Belgium, Czechoslovakia, the Free State of Danzig, Denmark, France, Guernsey, Hungary, Italy, Jersey, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Monaco, the Netherlands, Norway, Poland, San Marino, the Soviet Union, and Yugoslavia. During his time in office, Trump has invaded no sovereign states. Go back to Hitler. Hitler started a war that killed more than 5 million of his armed forces alone, plus many millions more in other countries. Donald Trump has started no world wars. Greg Gutfeld last night, he said, "Will someone please show Bob a doll and have him point to the place where Trump hurt him? We're going to have civil strife. Under Joe Biden, Jews can't go to class and illegals are attacking cops and getting away with it." And he's right. And yet, they're the ones that are struggling. If only somebody on The View would have asked Nero to critique the Biden presidency so far on matters such as illegal crime, immigration, Jew hatred, inflation, China, and the Mexican cartels teaming up to kill 70,000 Americans per year with fentanyl. If they would have done that, we might have been on board with them. There might have been something there to talk about. We'll talk a little bit more about De Niro and his nasty mouth, along with somebody else high up in government that did the same. We'll be back with more straight ahead. This is Pat Miller here on WOWO 92.3 FM and 1190 AM.
This is the Pat Miller Program on WOWO 92.3 FM and 1190 AM and on the WOWO app.
Hey, welcome back. Thanks for hanging in there. Listen, the differences between Biden and what he has accomplished or not accomplished and Donald Trump is striking to me. And the fact that some people on the left still try to paint Donald as the demon that he is just insanity to me. Look, I'm going to say something to you that I said back in 2016. I didn't vote for the guy to become my pastor or our youth director or our choir director. I didn't vote for him to take on any religious office anywhere in the country or the world. What I voted on for him was to take over as the head of the United States and to oversee our military and to keep us from war and to oversee our economy and to get American business back in America and to make do, which is exactly what he did. This guy that was out there saying, well, you know, he's just like Hitler. And he's okay, what? No, he's just like Hitler. He did all this. It's going to happen. If he gets elected, it's going to change this country for everybody. And they might think that it's going to make their life better or just what, excuse my French, at this point to show producers mute the studio. De Niro goes on an expletive-laden rant. The View girls get giddy because he says it's an F in this and an F in that and an F in the all that. Okay, because you're Robert De Niro and because you've won some awards in Hollywood and you've made some people laugh and some people like yours truly drop some dollars at the box office, and based on that, you think that gives you carte blanche just to come out and say whatever it is that you want to say? Wrong. Will somebody please show Bob a doll and have him point to the place where Trump hurt him? We're going to have civil strife under Joe Biden. Jews can't go to class and illegals are attacking cops and getting away with it. Look, those in the media and the left will dismiss it while decrying the virality of, for example, the Let's Go Brandon chant, if you remember that. But the latter was not only organic, it was actually funny. De Niro's outburst, on the other hand, was dire and deadly serious, with a hint of murderous intent, as have been other similar outbursts from fellow Hollywood elites like Kathy Griffin to Madonna to Johnny Depp. Of course, there's also Joe Biden's oft-expressed high school fantasy in which he takes Trump behind the gym to beat the hell out of him. Never mind that these days, old Scranton Joey would be bowled over by a stiff wind. And don't forget our good friend Barack Obama, the predecessor, the king who laid down the crown for Joe, who at a campaign event looked at well-built attendees and pondered how fun it would be to turn them loose on Fox News' Sean Hannity and made the statement, when it comes to dealing with Republicans, if they bring a knife to the fight, we bring a gun. Now you tell me who's upping the ante here. I don't think it's Donald Trump. Now, Kamala Harris was giving some advice. I know that alone is shocking. Kamala Harris was giving some advice to some young Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, Pacific Islanders, and getting all kinds of applause from her audience. We have to know that sometimes when people open the door for you and leave it open, sometimes they won't. Then you need to kick that effing door down. That's your vice president. After which she came back and she said, excuse my language. Actor, comedian Jimmy O. Yang, who happened to be moderating the conversation with the vice president, quipped, we got to make T-shirts with that saying. So now you got some woman up there who slept her way to her position and who snuggled up to her way to becoming vice president of the United States. And now she's dropping F-bombs all over the place in public, on public radio. She's being applauded for it. And now the people that are moderating her events, rather than hum-hawing around saying, well, we're sorry, we'll take that out before we release the tape, they're actually engaging her and just applauding her and saying, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Here's the thing about breaking barriers, Kamala Harris said. Breaking barriers does not mean you start on one side of the barrier and you end up on the other side. There's breaking involved. And when you break things, you get cut. And you may bleed. You may bleed. And it is worth it every time. Well, the vice president's appearance came as the Biden administration was celebrating Asian American, Native American, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Well, why are they going so far out for these groups? Because with Asians and Native Americans and with Hispanics, the president is losing ground. He is absolutely losing ground. So they're going out doing whatever they have to do to cinch up all of their support, including dropping F-bombs when necessary. The Biden-Harrison re-election campaign last week launched a $14 million ad campaign for May alone, aimed at reaching Black, Latino, and Asian Americans, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander voters, roughly 6 months out from the election. Let me just say this. If you are as far now as we are in the primary campaigns, and you're just getting yourself ready that in 6 months you're ready to go on the main election stage, and as you talk now about upcoming debates, one in June and one in September, and the Biden administration is going crazy because they've got to shore up these groups. You have to shore up Hawaiian Americans, Asian Americans, Latinos, and Black Americans. These are people that are scrambling from where they know they reside, way behind the eight ball. Way behind the eight ball. They know it. I know it. Now you know it. But just pay attention to it, because CNN will never tell you this. They will be feting him and applauding him with broad grins when they finish their CNN debate. And it's going to be a problem that they just can't fix. Later on in the program, Philip Wegman, he's going to be with us in about a little over half an hour, right after the top of the hour at 1 o'clock. Senator Marsha Blackburn, I want to talk about some things that she has come up with about women's sports and the president urging America to support women's sports, specifically the WNBA. Well, how can he beg us to support something that he is destroying? I believe he's destroying women's sports. And in the last hour, we're going to talk about China's land grab and a political leader's attempted assassination over in Slovakia. The world is becoming a battleground and a battle keg and a powder keg. We'd better watch it, because it's going to get worse before it gets better. We will talk about all that coming up in the next hour. Thanks for being with us. This is Pat Miller, right here with you on WOWO 92.3 FM, 1190 AM. And welcome back, everybody. Glad that you were with us after this short break we took here at the bottom of the hour. So the presidential debates are scheduled. President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump agreed yesterday to participate in 2 presidential debates. Now, the thought is there will probably be more. I wouldn't count on it. The announcement came just hours after Biden said he would not participate in traditional debates organized by the Nonpartisan Commission on Presidential Debates. Why not? Why wouldn't you want it to be the Nonpartisan Commission? Why would you not want somebody that doesn't necessarily have a dog in the fight, Mr. President? Instead, he wants an expedited debate schedule and stricter rules on interruptions, among other conditions. So he won't trust the Nonpartisan Commission on Presidential Debates to put the debates together. Really? Now, CNN is going to host the first debate, which will be on June the 27th. Now, they're going to have an ABC rematch slated for September the 10th, with the networks fitting the Biden camp's criteria for having broadcast primary debates for both parties in recent cycles. Now, look, don't get me wrong, but let me just ask the question. Yes, I understand that the president is, in fact, the president. I understand that. I get it. Why is it that he gets to call the shots for everything for what should be a free and fair debate, which would then lead to a free and fair election? That seems a little goofy to me. Not you? I mean, I just don't understand how it is that he gets free rein to go in and do whatever he wants to put these debates together. Now, this first one on June 27th, 1 week to the day after my birthday, thank you very much, with an ABC rematch for September the 10th, fits everything that Biden's camp is asking for. Broadcast primary debates for both parties in recent cycles. Biden's team had also called for no live audience at the events and no surprise moderators. Any candidate polling above 15% nationally who is on enough state ballots to win 270 electoral votes can participate, effectively excluding third-party candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Kennedy is currently on 4 state ballots and polling at 10%. Well, who is the president's party to say, well, Kennedy can't be on this? He's going to have to ballot. He just absolutely can't be on it. Well, again, I understand the president is the president, but he's not king. He's not God. He's not a potentate. He's a president, highly regarded, highly admired. A lot of grace is given to him, but you don't just walk into studios and say, okay, here's how we're going to do the debate, and here's how you're going to do them. Do you honestly think that if Joe Biden decided the 2 networks that the debates would be on, and they decided the who, what, where, and how of the people that would moderate the debate, do you honestly think that Donald Trump would receive a fair debate for him? Because I don't. I don't know how you do that. Now, I think when they made these demands, they thought that'll show them. And I think that Donald Trump has caught them a little off guard because he came out and said, okay, sure, yeah, we'll do them. We'll do both of them. Now, you watch Biden try to back away from one or both of these debates or try to start interjecting other little footnotes in there of this speed bump and that road under construction sign and this and that. You just watch as they go in there and they do that. That's not how this is supposed to work. Now, one thing about the debates is that June debate, the 27th, will occur before the official nominating conventions for both parties. Trump's New York hush money trial is expected to conclude by then as well. So there's a lot of behind-the-scenes drama, and we'll see how that plays out. Let's see how they're going to do it at CNN. One CNN anchor said, I'm just shocked that former President Donald Trump accepted the invitation and the layout for the debates. We'll find out what that all means, what it is that CNN thinks might happen, and we'll carry all this into the next segment. Glad you're with us. We'll be back straight ahead right here on WOWO 92.3 FM, 1190 AM.
This is the Pat Miller Program on WOWO 92.3 FM and 1190 AM and at WOWO.com.
Hey, welcome back. We're going to go into our last segment here of segment number 1 on the Pat Miller Program. Coming up in hour number 2 in segment 1 is Philip Wegman from Real Clear Politics. He is their White House correspondent, and he will be with us live on the Newsmaker line, and we will be talking to Philip straight ahead. I am just shocked. Who said that? A CNN anchor said that when they found out that Donald Trump accepted the invitation to the CNN debate on June 27th. A historically early showdown that will set the tone for the final months of the 2024 campaign. Biden said, well, I'll tell you what, since you like to debate so much there, big guy, what do you say we do it on this date and this date? Trump said, let me check the calendar. And they're like, oh, here we go. He came back almost instantaneously and said, yeah, okay, let's go. So they have now both accepted it. I've received and accepted an invitation from CNN for a debate on June 27th. Over to you, Donald, as you say, anywhere, anytime, any place. And that was supposed to scare Donald off. The answer is yes, I will accept, is what Trump told CNN. And later Wednesday morning, both men said they had accepted an invitation from ABC to hold a second debate on September the 10th. Now, this news is the latest development in this quickly escalating back and forth over debates between two political rivals. Biden's campaign earlier called on Trump to join him for two presidential debates hosted by news organizations and formally informed the Commission on Presidential Debates that the president will not participate in its previously scheduled fall debates. Why not? Why not? In fact, Trump didn't even make that a prerequisite. Look, I'll do both your debates. Just come do two with me out there at the totally unaffiliated with any campaign, the Commission on Presidential Debates. The president said nope. He said he was on board with earlier debates and told radio host Hugh Hewitt that he would accept any moderator. That's what Trump said. Biden only recently said that he was happy to debate Trump, though he was not non-committal on the format of such a debate, telling radio host Howard Stern, great conservative there, "I'm happy to debate him in a social media video." In a subsequent letter to the Commissioner on Presidential Debates, Biden's campaign laid out its proposed terms, the dates, June, September. Biden issues a challenge to Trump as he withdraws from traditional debate dates of the video of Biden speaking directly to the camera released Wednesday morning, which was kind of eerie looking for me, but it was more of a direct challenge. Donald Trump lost 2 debates to me in 2020. Since then, he hasn't shown up for a debate. Now he's acting like he wants me to debate again. Since then, he hasn't shown up for a debate. How many debates have you shown up for since 2020, Mr. President? How many? And I would take great umbrage with the fact that you think, in fact, it is your position, you think, in fact, that Donald lost the 2 debates to you back before the last election. I don't get that. I don't understand how you think that is, in fact, the case. So, yeah, let's reserve a little bit of judgment on that. But he's only happy to debate Trump. He says, "Well, make my day, pal. I'll do it even twice. So let's pick the dates, Donald. I hear you're free on Wednesdays," which was a backhanded slap on the president's trial schedule, which is, whether you agree with Trump on trial or not, whether you are a Republican or a Democrat, for the Democrat president to bring that up and to just drop that in the middle of his announcement and his challenge for a debate, that's rather seedy. That is absolutely rather seedy. The Biden campaign acknowledged that the first debate would likely take place after Trump's criminal hush money trial has concluded. Well, it might be concluding even sooner than Joe Biden thinks, because that thing is starting to fall apart. On Truth Social, which is the president's site, he accepted the revised schedule. He said, "I am ready and willing to debate Crooked Joe at the 2 proposed times in June and September," adding he would strongly recommend 2 more debates than the ones proposed. A senior Trump advisor told CNN they're ready to debate Biden and reviewing the terms, but are eager for an on-stage matchup. But Trump's people, again, came out and they're calling for a total of 4 debates between the 2 men. It's going to be interesting to see how it is that they knock this out. And Joe is not necessarily hiding in a basement this time. What's he going to hide in? Now, by that I mean this. If, in fact, there is no basement for him to run to, and there's not, and so then if there's no place for him to hide, and right now there isn't, well, then they're going to have to create basement-like walls out of thin air over positions or happenings or something that's happening, and just take it from there. Well, we can't possibly do a debate now because the president is yada, 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 yada. Some are saying this is why Joe Biden is pushing so much for these wars, why we're going to ramp up things in the Ukraine, and we're going to push this facade, we're going to push that facade. Now we've got a president who has been an assassination attempt has been made on him in Slovakia. And they're going to start saying, well, it's a good thing right now that Donald Trump is not in the office because we need somebody in here strong to handle this. How many presidents around the world were assassinated during the Donald Trump administration? All these terrible things that we're hearing. This is going to happen, and then that's going to happen, and then the other's going to happen. Really? That's what you think is going to happen? because I don't. I genuinely, truly don't think that's what's going to happen. Not under another Trump administration. It didn't happen under the first one. Why would it happen under this one? And I will say this, the changes that Donald Trump can make to this country, to our fabric, in taxes, in regulations, in education, in cleaning up our college campuses, in cleaning up our borders, and to make it where people can exercise free speech, but they can't block the free speech or the free living of others as they get out there and just keep calling upon themselves to be the gods over everything. Donald Trump didn't do that in the first four. What makes you think he's going to do it now? Well, he's going to want to because he wants to right the ship. Right what ship? The ship that your president is sinking us in? Is that the one? Because that's the only thing I can see. Look, I can understand that Joe Biden is probably terrified that Donald Trump is going to come on the scene and he's going to right the ship and he's going to start bringing things back. If he could right it after the administrations of Barack Obama, he can write it after the administration of Barack Obama's vice bozo-in-chief, Joe Biden. And he can, and he will. I have with absolute certainty, belief that is what's going to happen. Now, they've both accepted these dates. They've both accepted these debates and all the things. And you've got Biden now making these little acerbic shout outs from behind the curtain. I hear you're available on Wednesdays. It'll likely take place and then he'll have to fold his tent and go home. Well, I don't think so. I don't think that's where this is going. I don't think that's what's going to happen. President Biden didn't mince his words in the video, his deputy manager said. He said 2 debates, one in June, one in September, before voters began casting their votes. No spectacle, respect for the rules. Yeah, respect for the rules once they laid them out. It has to be here, it can't be there. It has to be this moderator, it can't be that moderator. It can't be with an independent debate commission. It has to be driven by a network. Why? Because the networks like Joe. They cannot afford to go in front of a commission that, in fact, is not leaning one way or the other. The Commission on Presidential Debates, and I would say it's pretty wide shot to say, well, they might just be conservative. I wouldn't rest my laurels on that. But Biden and his team, they don't even take the chance. They don't want it. Trump said, okay, Joe, I accept your 2 dates. Now let's do 2 more. Let's do a total of 4. And now they're sidestepping that. Why? I answered your call within 3 or 4 hours. Came back and said, fine, let's do it. Your number of debates, your way, your time, your place. Let's do it all. But he can't come back and do the same for you? Something is wrong here. Informal conversations between the 2 campaigns about debates have taken place in recent weeks and were largely focused on a mutual disdain of the Commission on Presidential Debates. Well, I understand that. But in that it's a mutual disdain, they need to work out some scenarios where they can sit there and pull some less than CNN arbiters for the debate. What about I'm going to say it. What about Fox News? What about that? You know, somebody's got some great insights on the American policies and the American political scenes. It's our friends over in the UK. Why not have the UK? Why not have the Daily Mirror or somebody come over here and have them oversee it? Well, we can't be sure they'd be unbiased. Really? Is that what you're saying? Now, according to CNN, their debate, the June 27th debate, that one's going to be held in their Atlanta studios. There will be no audience present. An anomaly in debates between presidential candidates, the first televised presidential debates, and if you remember them, and I do, but not by much, I was 6 years old, between John F. Kennedy and Richard Nixon in 1960, occurred in television studios with no live audience present. Debates did not take place again until the 1976 election. Is that not amazing? They went all the way from 60 to 76. So they went all the way through Kennedy and then Johnson and then the debates that involved Johnson's vice president, and you had that whole bit with him, and then not until 1976. Jimmy Carter, Gerald Ford. And why? Why? Because the Democrats were screaming for a debate in 1976. What had just happened? Well, Gerald Ford, who had been appointed vice president under Nixon, and then when Nixon resigned, Gerald Ford became president at noon the following day. Because of all of that, Ford was the candidate for the Republicans. Didn't have to be, but everybody had such deep wounds still on everything that remained from Watergate that the Republicans just had to grab Ford and run for the border and just say, we got to put you up there and this has got to go. And of course he got trounced. He was absolutely trounced. And the Democrats were like, yeah, it's going to be Democrats forever. Well, 4 years later, Ronald Reagan cleaned his clock. So now the Republicans are saying, let's have more debates. So you've got Biden, who's trying to look like he's all out front. I'm all in on this, guys. We're going to take it to the Donald, and we're going to mince him up and chew him up and spit him out. I don't know that we're there. I don't really know that's what's going to happen. I think that's some deep-seated thinking on the parts of some people on the left. A couple of other little articles, just short things here. New York City Mayor Eric Adams. How do we have a large body of people, illegal immigrants? How do we have such a large body of people that are in our city, our country, that are excellent swimmers, and at the same time we need lifeguards, and the only obstacle is that we won't give them the right to work to become a lifeguard? That's your whole stand on illegal immigration, is the Mexicans can swim? I got news for you, sir. There are a lot of white kids that can swim, too. I was a licensed, trained lifeguard when I was 17. I'm not trying to get the job now, although I would be a much better lifeguard now because I don't know if you know this or not, but lard floats. So George Stephanopoulos from ABC, he said, the deep state is packed with patriots. So we're the deep state. Do you get that? We're the enemy now. And now you've got Stephanopoulos, and he's already trying to align himself with everything that's going to go on with the president's party. Jamal Bowman, Congressman Jamal Bowman, Democrat, New York. I visited Columbia University. I went to the encampment. I met with the students there so I could learn more about their perspective, their position on what's happening there. I saw a library. I saw mental health supports. I saw students protesting peacefully. Well, you forgot to turn the corner and walk around the block, or you wouldn't have seen that. I never see Hamas as a terror organization. Turkish President Erdogan, you might want to check again. More coming up after the news.
Podcasts by Federated Media.